Hello, Air Hogs fans, and welcome to another edition of Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball live on Ustream. I'm Andy Humphrey, and we're back from the All-Star break, another road series for the Air Hogs. This is the start of a four-game set here in Lincoln, Nebraska, with the host team, the Lincoln Salt Dogs. Air Hogs so far have won 8 of their last 12 games on the road, including 4 straight series victories. 2 over the Kansas City T-Bones, 1 over the Laredo Lemurs, and another one over the Sioux Falls Canaries. Trying to continue that success on the road here against Lincoln. This will be the 10th of 13 meetings between these two this season. Lincoln will start on the mound their right-handed number 10 player. That is Justin Cooks. Cooks on the season with an ERA of 5.31, a record of 4-2, making start number 11 in 2014. Last season was with the El Paso Diablos in the American Association. No longer in the league are the Diablos. He played his college ball at Florida Atlantic University, that was at West Texas A&M University. He is a rookie this year, 24 years old, and trying to get his second win of the season against the Air Hogs. So far, he's 1-0 in 2 starts against them. This is the lineup he will face from the Grand Prairie Air Hogs under manager Eric Champion. Leading it off is Jimmy Mojica, the shortstop. Then batting second, Alex Nunez at second base. Batting third, Abel Nieves at third base. The cleanup hitter will be Jason Botts at first. Then batting fifth, the designated hitter Brian Myro. Batting sixth, Brian Peterson, the catcher. Then batting seventh, Frazier Hall in right field. Batting eighth, Ride Rodriguez in left. And then the 9 hitter will be Madison Carter in center field. Jimmy Mojica will lead things off. Air Hogs in their last game against Laredo managed just 5 hits when they were shut out in the series finale on Sunday night. First pitch to Mojica is taken for strike 1. Official start time is 7:05 here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Beautiful day for baseball. High is just around the mid-80s, and around game time, it's around 82, 83 degrees. That pitch is just outside. A ball and a strike now to Jimmy Mojica. Mojica has moved his average to 300 this year in 57 games with Grand Prairie, a home run and 21 RBIs. Takes another pitch off the plate. It's now 2 balls and 1 strike to Mojica, the 30-year-old veteran. Righty versus righty. Justin Cooks from the windup now will deliver the 2-1 pitch, and it's way upstairs this time. That moves the count to 3-1. Air Hogs are 3-6 against Lincoln this season. Previous 3 series were all 3-game sets, and Lincoln won every single one of those 3-game sets, 2-1. This is bounced to the shortstop. It was just over the glove of Cooks, but Gil Martin is there to back up his pitcher and go to first for the out. So that's quickly 1 down for the Salt Dogs, and here's their defensive lineup for you. Ian Gack at first base. Then Luis Nunez at second base, Mike Gilmartin at shortstop, Brandon Pinckney at third base, that familiar name for Air Hogs fans. In left field, Chad Mazingo. In center field, Matt Forgatch. In right field, Brian Joint. And the catcher is Chris Anderson. Alex Nunez swings and misses at the first pitch. A changeup from Justin Cooks, 0-1 the count. Nunez, a 3-game hitting streak, one of the only players to get a hit against Laredo on Sunday night. He actually went 2 for 4 in that game. He bounces this one to the pitcher. To his right goes Ian Gack to make the stop, and he flips over to his pitcher who covers the bag at first. 2 up and 2 down here in the top of the first inning for the Salt Dogs. Here's your umpire crew for tonight's game. At first base, Marty Bauer. At third base, Troy Solsa, and behind the plate, Sean Hicks. Marty Bauer was initially listed as the home plate umpire for tonight's game, but then he and Sean Hicks switched places before the start time. Abel Nieves looks at a pitch outside from Justin Cooks. It's a ball and no strikes. Nieves, .329 batting average, and fresh off his appearance in the American Association All-Star game. That was just last night in Winnipeg. So Nieves had to make quite the trip from Laredo up to Winnipeg and then back here to Lincoln in just a matter of 2 days. A ball and a strike. Here's the pitch from Justin Cooks in there on the outside corner, that is. A ball and 2 strikes now to Abel Nieves. He went 2 for 4 with a run scored in the All-Star game yesterday. The South All-Star team defeated the North 7-0. That's just outside. It's now an even count at 2-2. The South held the North to just 2 base hits all night in the All-Star game, so some great pitching by the South. Here's another pitch outside, and it fills the count at 3-2. Nieves wasn't the only player that got into the game for the Air Hogs last night. Vince Stefazio also made an appearance at catcher, batting in the 9 spot, and he went 1 for 2 with an RBI single. That's going to be called strike 3 on the outside edge. Nieves thought it was ball 4, but he will sit down on strikes, and that ends the first inning. A 1-2-3 inning for Justin Cooks and the Salt Dogs, and we move to the bottom of the first inning where Lincoln will have their first chance to bat here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Now in the bottom of the first inning, still no score between the Airhogs and the Salt Dogs. And former Lincoln Salt Dog Trevor Hardin will be the starter on the mound for the Grand Prairie Airhogs tonight. Hardin this season will make start number 13 this year, an ERA of 4.39, a record of 5-2. This is also his 4th start of the year against Lincoln. So far, no decisions, and a 4.26 ERA against the Salt Dogs, including 10 strikeouts in one game in his first start against them on May 21st. He has 18 total strikeouts against his 2013 club this year. Only spent a brief time last year with the Salt Dogs, just 8 relief appearances. Last season, he spent most of the year with Rockford in the Frontier League. This is the lineup he'll face from the Lincoln Salt Dogs under manager Ken Oberkfell. Leading it off, Chad Mazingo in left field. Then batting second, Luis Nunez, the second baseman. Then batting third, John Gaston, the DH. And batting cleanup, Ian Gack at first. And batting fifth, Brian Jointon right field. Batting sixth, Brandon Pinkney at third base. Batting seventh, Mike Gilmartin, the shortstop. Then batting eighth, Matt Forgatch in center field. And the catcher, Chris Anderson, will bat ninth in the lineup for Lincoln. Chad Mazingo will lead it off for the Salt Dogs here. First pitch from Hardin is way outside for ball 1. Mazingo spent last season with Grand Prairie. Left-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher. Mazingo lives in Houston, Texas, and played his college ball at Rice. Shift is on as Mazingo looks at strike 1. Jimmy Mojica playing almost directly behind the second base bag, and Alex Nunez just on the edge of the outfield grass on the diamond as this is popped up into center field. And Madison Carter just a few steps in to make that catch, 1 down. Defensive lineup for the Grand Prairie Airhogs: at first base, Jason Botts; at second base, Alex Nunez; at shortstop, Jimmy Mojica; at third base, Abel Nieves; in left field, Ride Rodriguez; in center field, Madison Carter; in right field, Frazier Hall; and the catcher is Brian Peterson. Now Luis Nunez will bat second, the second baseman for Lincoln. Here's the first pitch to him, and he takes it on the inside corner for strike 1. So both of these teams have second basemen with the last name Nunez, and they both bat second in the lineup. Here's the 0-1. In there on the outside edge of the zone from Trevor Hardin. And it's quickly 0-2 the count against Nunez. A veteran on this roster, a native of Venezuela, just like Alex Nunez is for the Airhogs. These two couldn't be any more similar, it seems. That's outside, a ball and 2 strikes now. Luis Nunez last played for the Atlanta Braves AAA club, Gwinnett. As he rolls this on the left side of the infield, Jimmy Mojica stops it but will not have a play. Just too far of a throw for him and too slow of a grounder to the left side of the infield, and that's an infield single for Luis Nunez. One down, and now a runner at first base. John Gaston, the designated hitter, will bat next. Gaston did not play in the last series between these two in early July. He was on the disabled list during that time, and now a couple of players who played in the last series against Grand Prairie are on the DL now. That's Jeremy Hamilton and Kevin Howard. Both of those guys are big losses. Howard was leading the Salt Dogs in runs batted in at the time, and now not able to play so far in this one. As John Gaston looks at ball 1. Another infield shift is on for Gaston. Mojica just a few feet away to the right side of the second base bag, and Nunez once again on the edge of the grass on the very back end of the diamond. The 1-0 pitch is just a little low over the plate, and now 2-0 the count. John Gaston this season with a batting average of .300. He has played in 18 games. That's it. 4 home runs and 17 runs batted in. Lefty at the dish, righty on the mound. Hardin from the stretch will now deliver the 2-0 pitch. A check swing, and it's just a little low, making the count 3 balls and no strikes. A man at first base and 1 out. Still no score here in the bottom of the first inning. Lincoln, the first team with a base hit in this one. And it looks like Trevor Hardin is trying to give John Gaston a nasty pitch here, but needs to throw a strike if he wants to avoid putting a runner in scoring position. He's set from the stretch. Here's the 3-0. And it's in there, a fastball for called strike 1. 83 miles an hour on that one. Ian Gack is on deck for the Salt Dogs. Still no score in the bottom of the first inning. 3-1 pitch is now on the way. Runner going on this pitch. It is popped up on the left side, and it's going to drift foul. No one will have a play at that except for a fan in the stands. Now the count is full at 3-2. John Gaston played his college ball at the University of Arizona. Played for Lincoln last year for a brief time. He started the year in Laredo. 27 years old. The payoff pitch will not come as Hardin checks over to the bag at first. Getting back in is Luis Nunez, who has 4 stolen bases in 6 attempts this year for the Salt Dogs in 30 games. Came to the team mid-season. Now the payoff pitch comes. The runner goes again. It's lined foul down the first base line. And the count remains full with 3 balls and 2 strikes. Lincoln on the season, 34-32. Second place in the Central, just 4 games back of Gary South Shore, who lead that division. Grand Prairie, meanwhile, 29-37. And a big gap between them and the division leaders in the South, Wichita. 16 games back are the Airhogs in 3rd place in that South Division. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Hardin set at the letters. Runner goes on the 3-2 again, and it's once again line foul and out of play. Only 1 out in this bottom of the first inning. And John Gaston fighting hard against Trevor Hardin in this at-bat. Hardin will now deliver the 9th pitch between batter and pitcher in this at-bat here. Runner at first and 1 out. Still no score in the bottom of the first inning. 3-2 is on the way. Runner goes again, and it's bounced on the ground, foul, down the third base line. And now Brian Peterson will trot out to the pitcher's mound to talk with Trevor Hardin. Trevor Hardin in his last start on Friday at Unitrade Stadium against Laredo, he got the win in 6 1/3 innings of work. 3 runs given up on 6 hits, 8 strikeouts and 2 walks for the 26-year-old right-hander. He has now pitched in every single series against Lincoln this year. 3 balls and 2 strikes. A runner at first base and still only 1 out. A long at bat against John Gaston. Hardin trying to get this batter out here. The runner goes again on the pitch. And it's popped high in the air to center field once again. Charging in to make the catch is Madison Carter. And it's 2 outs. So in the end, Hardin wins that long-fought battle between batter and pitcher, and it brings up the cleanup hitter Ian Gack. A great offensive season for Gack in 2014. Right now he sits in 3rd place in batting average at .358. Second in home runs at 15 on the season. And he also leads the league in slugging percentage at .674. So a big offensive threat on this Salt Dogs roster. Right-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher Trevor Hardin, who delivers the first pitch, and the runner goes again. It is in the dirt, and Peterson won't be able to handle that one to throw to second base. Easily stealing the bag is Nunez. And it's ball 1 to Ian Gack. Gack, a veteran from Bellevue, Washington. Played for the Salt Dogs last year as well as in the Atlantic League for Southern Maryland. A 26th round draft pick in 2003 of the Texas Rangers. He was also in the All-Star game, starting as the first baseman. A slow bouncer to the pitcher. Hardin comes off his mound and goes to first to end the first inning. So no runs, a hit, a man stranded on base for the Salt Dogs. And after one, we're still scoreless. Moving to the second inning where the Air Hogs will bat. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Welcome back. It's now the top of the second inning. 0-0 the score between the Air Hogs and the Salt Dogs. The first of a 4-game set on a Wednesday night here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Haymarket Park is the location. Used as the home stadium not only for the Salt Dogs but also for the University of Nebraska baseball team. Here on the University of Nebraska campus, you can see the football stadium out there in the distance on the top of your screen. Jason Botts leads it off in the top of the second inning. Facing off against Justin Cooks. Here's the pitch, and it's in there for strike 1, splitting the plate. Jason Botts, an 8-game hitting streak for him. Botts batting .307. Has played all 66 games for the Air Hogs this year. The only player who can say that he's done that. He pops high in the air to left field, and Chad Mazingo with a few steps to his right side. And he makes the catch in the sun for out number 1. Now it'll be Brian Myro's turn to bat. Brian Myro batting 5th in the lineup and the designated hitter in this one. Left-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher, Justin Cooks. Myro, a 2-game hitting streak for him. He's batting .263 in 29 games with the Air Hogs. 3rd season with Grand Prairie in his career. And he takes a pitch outside. That's ball 1 to Brian Myro. 2 home runs, 13 RBIs for the 37-year-old veteran, as well as a player coach on the roster. That's called strike 1 on the outside corner. On deck is Brian Peterson, the catcher. Justin Cooks, in his 3rd start against Grand Prairie this year, delivers the 1-1 pitch, and it's a little upstairs, making the count 2-1. Justin Cooks, a rookie out of West Texas A&M, lives in Tracy, California, against the 37-year-old veteran Brian Myro. That's in there for called strike 2. Even count now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Air Hogs trying to keep their success going on the road. So far, they've won 8 of their last 12 road games. That's called strike 3 on the inside corner to Brian Myro. Likes the crowd the plate a lot, but umpire at home plate, Sean Hicks, not fooled by that. That's a strikeout and the second punch out for Justin Cooks in the game. 2 outs in the 2nd inning. Next batter, Brian Peterson. Peterson batting 6th in the lineup and playing at catcher. 35-year-old veteran. Just acquired by the team a couple weeks ago. Peterson now playing in his 10th game as an Air Hog as he looks at strike 1. This is his first action of 2014. Last season played most of the year in Laredo. Batting over 300 in 95 games with the team last year. That's a swing and a miss by Peterson, and it's no balls and 2 strikes. Peterson already with a couple of home runs with the Air Hogs and 7 runs batted in. That included a grand slam against Laredo on Saturday. And he's going to swing and miss at a pitch outside from Justin Cooks. Back-to-back strikeouts to end that 2nd inning for Cooks. And another 1-2-3 inning. We move to the bottom of the 2nd. Still no score between Lincoln and Grand Prairie. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Welcome back to Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. So far, we're scoreless here in the bottom of the 2nd inning between the Air Hogs and the Salt Dogs. First of this 4-game set, leading it off for Lincoln, Brian Joint, the right fielder, then followed by Brandon Pinckney and Mike Gilmartin, the 5, 6, 7 hitters for the Salt Dogs, and manager Ken Oberkfell. Brian Joint this season, a batting average of .323, 6 home runs, 37 RBIs. Brian Joint last season, in addition to playing for Lincoln, also played for the El Paso Diablos as he takes strike one. Trevor Harden only allowing one base hit in the first inning against his former club. Now winds up for the 0-1 pitch. Just a little inside this time. A ball and a strike now to Joint. Brian Joint is 29 years old, played his college ball at Oklahoma City University. Now lives in Knoxville, Iowa. Another pitch low, and it's 2-1. Brian Joint is second in the American Association with 37 doubles. That was last season when he played for El Paso and Lincoln. Two balls and two strikes. Trevor Harden from the windup now working for the 2-2 pitch. A swing and a miss. And striking out there is Brian Joint, the first strikeout for Trevor Harden on the night, and it's one down in the second. This is the final series between these two this year. The Airhogs have not played any other opponent more times outside their division than Lincoln this year. 13 meetings between these two. Lincoln in the Central and Grand Prairie in the South. Now former Grand Prairie Airhog Brandon Pinckney is to bat. He takes strike one. Brandon Pinckney batted .255 for the Airhogs before being released by the team on June 16th. That is outside, and it's now a ball and a strike. After he was released from Grand Prairie, he spent time in Amarillo and now finds himself with the Salt Dogs. And so far this season with Lincoln, he has played 5 games, and he's batting .250, 4 for 16. That's a swing and a miss, and a ball and 2 strikes now to Brandon Pinckney. When he was playing for Grand Prairie and Amarillo, he was primarily the second baseman, now finds himself at third base here in Lincoln. As that's a pitch low in the dirt, and even count now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mike Gilmartin on deck. Brandon Pinckney had 2 home runs in his 2014 with the Airhogs as he pops this pitch foul down the right side. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. On the season, collectively, he is batting .277 in 56 games. 7 home runs, 35 runs batted in for Brandon Pinckney. A 32-year-old veteran from Sacramento, California. High or low and outside on that next pitch from Trevor Harden. Now a full count to Brandon Pinckney, his former teammate. Pinckney played his college ball at Sacramento City College and spent last year with Grand Prairie as well. He hits this one high and deep into left, and it's going to bounce just in fair territory, a few feet away from the warning track, and into second base on the double is Pinckney. So Pinckney with a big hit against his former club, a multi-base hit there for double number 10 on the season. Now Mike Gilmartin is the batter with a runner at second base and 1 out. Gilmartin this year is batting .212 in 55 games with the Salt Dogs. 2 home runs, 18 RBIs. Gilmartin last played for Bridgeport in the Atlantic League and played his college ball at Wofford in South Carolina. He takes ball 1 from Trevor Harden. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Harden with the 1-0, and it's chopped to the right side. Nunez charges in, and he's going to flip to the pitcher as Jason Botts found himself out of position, thought he may have to field it, and couldn't get to the bag in time, so Harden was over there. A heads-up play by the pitcher to cover the bag, and that's a 4-1 put out on Gilmartin. That's 2 down, and it moves Brandon Pinckney to third base here in the bottom of the second inning. Center fielder Matt Forgatch is the next batter, batting in the 8th spot for Lincoln. Matt Forgatch this season, .257 hitter with 7 home runs, 26 runs batted in. Also one off the team lead with 17 doubles, just one behind Brian Joint. He takes ball 1 from Hardin. After him will be the 9-spot hitter, Chris Anderson. Hardin from the stretch delivers the 1-0. Off the glove of Peterson, goes back to the backstop, and Pinckney's going to score. And that's how we open our scoring here. It's going to be ruled a passed ball as Brian Peterson allows that one to get past him. It's not a wild pitch. It'll be a passed ball ruled to the catcher, making it 1-0 Salt Dogs here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Meanwhile, that'll move the count to 2-0 to Matt Forgatch, now with the bases empty and 2 outs. The pitch from Hardin is a little low on the 89-mile-per-hour fastball. 2-1, or 3-0 the count, I should say. Now he needs a strike here, and he gets it on the inside corner this time. 3-1 the count. Trevor Hardin, no decisions so far this year in 3 starts against Lincoln. An ERA of 4.26 against the Salt Dogs, his former team. Just outside on that one. And it's ball 4. First walk allowed by Hardin in the game. Well, the Airhogs team ERA is at 5.17, which doesn't seem that great when you first look at it, but it's actually quite the improvement from what it was about a month ago. Hovering around the 6 range. They're now only 10th in the league in team ERA. They used to sit last by quite the margin. So Grand Prairie starting to improve in the earned run allowed department as ball 1 is delivered to Chris Anderson. A runner on first base, that's Matt Forgatch, who is a speedy runner. Got 20 stolen bases this year in 22 attempts. And he goes on this pitch. It's outside. Peterson the throw to second, and it's going to roll into center field. Forgatch goes to third. Carter's going to throw to third, and it's not in time. Taking 2 bags on the stolen base and the error is Matt Forgatch. And now a runner at third base with 2 outs. A 2 balls and no strike count against Chris Anderson. And yet another miscue made by the catcher, Brian Peterson. That is going to be ruled an E2, a throwing error. A stolen base for Forgatch and a throwing error to Peterson puts Forgatch at third base with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. It's on the outside corner this time for strike 1. Chris Anderson, .222 hitter with Lincoln, 2 home runs, 19 runs batted in. Right-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Now the 2-1 is on the way. Just tipped foul and into the catcher, making it 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, the Airhogs already trail 1-0. The run scored on a pass ball by Peterson. And then later on in the inning, Peterson throwing one just a little low to Alex Nunez. It rolled into center field. And it's going to be a throwing error. And in the last game against Laredo, Peterson had 2 errors, and he's warming up pitches here, and he threw one over the head of Trevor Hardin. So he was starting to warm up just a little bit, and Peterson might be injured, it seems. Eric Champion is now emerging from the dugout, as well as the trainer. Peterson looking at his right hand, his throwing hand. Might be something wrong with his finger, and he tried to test it out, throwing some tosses over to Trevor Hardin. One of them sailed over his head. He says he's all right. He gives the thumbs up with that hand in question. And we're going to continue play here. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Chris Anderson, the catcher. Peterson had 2 throwing errors in the previous game against Laredo and now has one in tonight's game, as well as a pass ball which ended up scoring a run. The 2-2 is on the way. That is lined foul down the right side, and the count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes. A runner at third base and 2 outs. Airhogs trailing 1-0 off of 2 hits by the Salt Dogs as well as 1 error in this inning. Now the 2-2 is on the way. Hit high in the air to center field, and it's shallow center. Who's going to call for it? It's going to be Carter making the grab in shallow right center field. So he makes all 3 outs, he made 2 outs in the first and now makes the final out of this second. But a run will score on 1 hit in that second inning. Also an error by the Airhogs and a man left on base by Lincoln. And it's going to be 1-0 going to the third inning here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. It's 1-0 Salt Dogs as we start the third inning here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. Airhogs will lead it off with Frazier Hall, the right fielder, followed by Rede Rodriguez and Madison Carter, the 7, 8, 9 hitters in the lineup. So far, it's been 6 batters up and 6 batters down for Justin Cooks, the starter for Lincoln. Already 3 strikeouts in this outing, his third start against the Airhogs this year and his 11th in 2014. Frazier Hall looks at strike 1 on the outside corner. Frazier brings a 6-game hitting streak to this one. Hall this year in 48 games is batting with an average of .282, and he lines this one foul into the screen, making it no balls and 2 strikes. Hall also a .510 slugging percentage, which leads all players if you discount Brian Peterson, who has only played 10 games. Even leads RBI leader Jason Botts in the slugging percentage category as he looks at ball 1 inside. Frazier Hall with 6 home runs and 25 runs batted in this season. That's a little inside. That makes it 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Rede Rodriguez on deck. Frazier Hall in right field for this one. He's also played at first and third this year. Cooks winds up the 2-2 on the way. Jammed foul down the left side, and it's going to go into the stands. Frazier Hall, a former Arizona Diamondbacks minor league prospect. Last season started out in South Bend before coming to Grand Prairie in independent ball midseason. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Now the 2-2 is on the way again. Little outside on the slider at 76 miles per hour from Justin Cooks, and a full count to the 26-year-old Frazier Hall. Airhogs trail 1-0. The pitch to Hall is a swing and a miss. An off-speeder from Cooks, and he gets his 3rd consecutive strikeout, and that's a total of 4 for him on the night. So one down, and Rede Rodriguez is the batter. Rodriguez in left field for this one. Last time he appeared for the Air Hogs, he started on Saturday and went 0 for 2, was subbed out in the third inning by Eric Baker due to an illness that he had during the game. But feels better now and looks at ball one. Rodriguez, also 26 years old, a native of Cuba. He looks at a pitch upstairs from Justin Cooks, and it's now 2 balls and no strikes. Rodriguez, now in his 8th game with the Air Hogs, only has a total of 3 base hits and 27 at-bats. That is called strike one down the middle. So not the best offensive start you want with your new team. After coming from the Brownsville Charros earlier this year. Lines this one into center, and catching it on the run is Forgatch, who went to his right side and caught it in stride to make that grab, and it's 2 down. Next batter, Madison Carter. 2 outs and nobody on base for the Air Hogs. And after just 5 base hits in their previous game against Laredo, they're still searching for their first one here in Lincoln. Cooks winds up. Here's the first pitch. Splitting the plate in half there for strike one is Cooks. Carter looks at it for strike one. Madison Carter, .262 hitter in 17 games with the Air Hogs, bounces this one up the middle, and it's going to be fielded by the second baseman, Nunez. A throw across his body, and it's in time to beat the speedy Madison Carter at the bag. And it's 3 up, 3 down once again for Justin Cooks, this time in the third inning. So the Air Hogs have been sat down in order since the start of this game, and will move to the bottom of the third with the score still 1-0 in favor of Lincoln. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Bottom of the third inning, 1-0 Salt Dogs here in the first of this 4-game set at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. And the top of the order will be up for Lincoln in this bottom of the third. Chad Mazinga, the left fielder, then Luis Nunez, the second baseman, John Gaston, the designated hitter. Trevor Harden back on the mound against his former club. Facing off against Chad Mazingo, who flew out to center field to start off this first inning. For Lincoln, left-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher. Infield shift is on. Going to the right side, 3 infielders to the right side of the diamond for the Air Hogs as the first pitch is delivered to Mazingo. Lined into right field, and Frazier Hall outstretches his glove there to make the catch on the run. He had to react quickly to that and made a short little hop going to his left side into the right field corner, it appeared. And it's 1 pitch, 1 out in the third inning for Trevor Harden on a nice play out there by Frazier Hall. Now Alex Nunez will bat. Nunez grabbed the first base hit of the game in the first inning, an infield single to the left side, and then stole a base as well. First pitch is taken outside, and Nunez didn't want any part of it, stepping outside the batter's box as the pitch came in, and it's ball 1. Luis Nunez, .292 hitter in 30 games with Lincoln. 6 home runs and 16 runs batted in. It's now a ball and a strike. Nunez, a 27-year-old veteran. It's a little low on the next pitch. 2 balls and 1 strike. He was drafted by the Yankees. Or excuse me, was not drafted. Was signed as an undrafted free agent in 2005 by the New York Yankees as he jams this one foul down the first base line, making the count 2-2. He last came from the Atlanta Braves minor league system, playing for Gwinnett, their AAA club, and now finds himself in the American Association with the Lincoln Salt Dogs, a right-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher Trevor Hardin. Now the 2-2 is on the way. That's hit high in the air to center. Madison Carter charging in, a diving catch, and he holds on for the out. Well, highlight reel catch there from the rookie Madison Carter. And a nice job of taking away center field, and another base hit from Luis Nunez. And it's denied there by Carter in center field, 2 down. A couple of very nice plays in the outfield in this bottom of the 3rd inning for Grand Prairie. 2 up and 2 down. The next batter is John Gaston. Gaston flew out to center field in the 3rd inning as well. He is 0 for 1. And the shift is on for him as well. 3 infielders to the right side of the diamond, and Madison Carter also shifting to the right side in center field as Gaston looks at ball 1 outside from Hardin. Well, Gaston has been plagued with injuries this season as he bounces to first base. It's down the line and fair. Bonds is going to flip to Hardin, who covers the bag, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Hardin in the 3rd, and that's what he really needed after allowing a run in the 2nd. So after 3 full innings here at Haymarket Park, it is 1-0 Lincoln in the first of this 4-game set on a Wednesday evening. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. It's still 1-0 Salt Dogs as we move to the 4th here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. First of this 4-game set, and the Airhogs will lead it off with their top of the order, Jimmy Mojica, who's 0 for 1 so far, as well as everyone else on the team. So far, no base hits for the Airhogs. They've been sat down in order so far by Justin Cooks. Jimmy Mojica grounded out to shortstop to start off this game. As he looks at the first pitch from Cooks, bounces it on the ground, and it's foul down the 3rd base line. Mojica, a batting average of .300 coming into this game. Announced his retirement last year as a Laredo Lemur, but then came back to sign with the Airhogs during the 2nd week of the American Association regular season. Pops this one foul into the screen, and it's no balls and 2 strikes to Jimmy Mojica, who has played for 7 different teams in the American Association in his long career. Most of it has been spent in independent ball. That is low in the dirt for ball 1 on the next pitch. Mojica has spent some brief times with some affiliated clubs, including with the Seattle Mariners. as well as the Cleveland Indians. Cooks with the 1-2 pitch. That is lined into left field, and it's going to be a base hit. Bouncing just in front of Chad Mazingo, and Mojica gets the first Air Hogs hit of the night as the leadoff hitter in the 4th inning. That'll bring up Alex Nunez, who will try to extend his 3-game hitting streak with this at-bat here. He is 0 for 1 so far, ground out to first base. Nunez has been one of the most consistent hitters in the Air Hogs lineup since he joined the team last month. Runner going on the first pitch. It is lined just foul in left field. Air Hogs deploying the hit and run on that pitch, but not successful as Nunez couldn't straighten it out into the field of play, and it's no balls and 1 strike. Nunez started out this year with Sugar Land. He was another guy that came out of retirement to play this year. He retired in 2012 in the Can-Am League. A move to first base just in there in time is Mojica. That was a quick tag from Ian Gack, the first baseman. And Cooks with a nice pickoff move on the mound. Mojica with 9 stolen bases this year for the Air Hogs. Or excuse me, that's 8. He is tied with Nunez for the team lead this year. He has been caught stealing 5 times, Mojica. No balls and 1 strike to Nunez. Cooks looks behind his shoulder, now delivers home a bunt, and he went around on the bunt, said home plate umpire Sean Hicks, and it's no balls and 2 strikes to Alex Nunez, 33 years old, a native of Venezuela. Batting .366 in 35 games with the Air Hogs is Alex Nunez. 19 runs batted in. Looks at a pitch just off the outside corner. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. On deck, Abel Nieves for the Air Hogs. A runner at first and nobody out. And the Hogs trailing 1-0 here in the top of the 4th inning. 1-2 pitch into the hole between first and second base, and it's a base hit. Going first to third is Mojica, and they tried to get Alex Nunez, who made a wide turn over at the first base bag, but he slides in safely. Mojica taking 2 bases on the Alex Nunez single, and that's back-to-back hits for the Air Hogs to put runners at the corners and nobody out in the top of the 4th inning. Now their all-star, Abel Nieves, is to the plate. Abel struck out looking in the first inning. Started as the 3rd baseman for the South American Association All-Star team yesterday in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Batted in the 8 hole and went 2 for 4 with a run score. Now tries to drive in a run here with runners at the corners and nobody out. Up the middle and into the hole for a base hit, and scoring is Mojica on the play. Nieves delivers the RBI single for the Air Hogs to tie the score at 1 apiece. Abel Nieves now with 28 runs batted in, and he blasts that first pitch on the ground and just through the hole between second and short to put runners at first and second base. Still nobody out. It ties the score at 1, and it brings up the cleanup hitter Jason Botts. Botts flew out to left field in the 2nd inning. So far 0 for 1. Takes the first pitch a little low, and it's ball 1. Botts the leader on the Air Hogs in both home runs and RBIs. 8 homers and 51 driven in. The 1-0 pitch is a little inside, and it's 2-0 the count. Infield a little bit shifted to the right side for Jason Botts, the switch hitter batting lefty in this at-bat. Ian Gack not holding on Abel Nieves at first. And the shortstop Mike Gilmartin a little bit closer to the second base bag, trying to hold on Alex Nunez as the pitch from Cooks is in the dirt again. It's now 3-0 to Jason Botts. On deck is Brian Myro. Still nobody out, and it's runners at first and second for the Air Hogs. They look to take the lead here in this top of the 4th inning, already tying the score with 3 straight singles here in the 4th. That's hit high in the air to right center. Going back are the outfielders. They're looking over their head, and it's a home run. 3-run jack for Jason Botts, number 9 on the season, and the Airhogs take a 3-run lead here in Lincoln. Also give Jason Botts 54 RBIs on the season, and that's a big hit to right center field. It is 4-1 Airhogs in the opener of this 4-game set here in Lincoln, Nebraska. 4 runs on 4 consecutive hits in this 4th inning for Grand Prairie. It empties the bases for Brian Myro. He hits this one high into center field. Going back is Forgatch. Can he make the play? Yes, he can. Catching it on the run just a few yards away from the warning track, and it's 1 down here in the 4th. So the Airhogs respond with 4 runs here in this 4th inning. There's still only 1 out. After that fly out by Brian Myro to center field, it'll bring up Brian Peterson. He struck out swinging in the 2nd. Peterson appeared to be a little bit injured in the 2nd inning. That was the bottom of the 2nd. He allowed a pass ball and also committed a throwing error and had to be checked out just briefly by the trainer as well as manager Eric Champion, but appears to be okay. Looks at ball 1. Here's the next pitch. Line straight to 2nd, and it's caught by Nunez. Now it's 2 down here in the 4th inning. Seventh batter of the inning, it's Frazier Hall. He struck out swinging in the 3rd. Left-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher, Cooks. Swing and a miss on a changeup there by Cooks. Nothing in 1 the count. Frazier Hall has been a pretty consistent hitter as of late for the Airhogs. Brings a 6-game hitting streak to this game and has 3 home runs in the last couple of weeks as he swings and misses. At the next pitch, he falls behind, no balls and 2 strikes in the count. Hall batting in the 7 hole, playing in right field. Now here's the windup in the 0-2 to Hall. Swing and a miss again. And a strikeout ends the 4th for Justin Cooks, but not after 4 runs on 4 hits by the Airhogs. They take a 4-1 lead here in Lincoln, Nebraska. We move to the bottom of the 4th inning. Listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball. 4-1 is your score. The Airhogs on top as we move to the bottom of the 4th inning. First, let's take a look at some other scores around the American Association. Top of the 4th inning in Sioux City. Fargo-Moorhead leading the Explorers 3-0. It's in the top of the 4th. In the bottom of the 3rd, Sioux Falls leading Winnipeg at home 2-1. Bottom of the 3rd inning, Gary South Shore up 2-0 over the Kansas City T-Bones as of now. And in the top of the 2nd, Amarillo with a slight 1-0 lead in Laredo against the Laredo Lemurs. So there's a quick look at your other scores around the league. as leading off this bottom of the fourth inning is Ian Gack for the Salt Dogs. Gack grounded out to the pitcher in the first inning. He is 0 for 1 so far. Right-handed batter against Trevor Hardin, the right-handed pitcher. First delivery is in there for called strike one on the upper third of the strike zone. Gack will be followed by Brian Joint and Brandon Pinkney in the lineup for Lincoln, the 4-5-6 hitters. Wind up in the 0-1 from Hardin. Just a little low on that one. And it's an even counted a ball and a strike. Gack, a big season so far at the dish. Second in the league in home runs with 15. As he looks at a pitch high and inside for 2 balls and 1 strike the count now. Third in batting average at .358. And also leads the league in slugging percentage at .674. Started as the first baseman for the South American Association All-Star team yesterday. And he lines that one into left field to open up the bottom of the fourth for the Salt Dogs with a single. That'll bring up the right fielder Brian Joint. Struck out swinging in the second, 0 for 1 tonight. Brian Joint brings a 3-game hitting streak to this one as Ian Gack just extended his hitting streak to 10 games with that last single. Brian Joint has 24 multi-hit games this year. That leads the team. So far 0 for 1 and trying to get in the hit column with this at-bat. A runner at first and nobody out. Air Hogs up by 3 runs in the bottom of the fourth inning. First pitch to Joint is just missing the inside edge of the zone there for ball 1. Brian Joint last season, in addition to playing for Lincoln, also played for the El Paso Diablos, 29 years old. 1-0 pitch, lined hard into left field. It's just foul down the line. And that was really close on the foul line in left field, maybe just a couple of inches outside. And Joint will go back to the batter's box. A ball and a strike the count now. These two teams are pretty similar in team batting average. The Air Hogs just slightly above Lincoln in that category. .272 on the year is Grand Prairie, and Lincoln at .269. Grand Prairie is 6th in the league. Lincoln is 8th. 1-1 pitch is now upcoming from Trevor Hardin. Just a little inside again. Moving the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. Brandon Pinkney is on deck. Air Hogs have out-hit the Salt Dogs so far 4-3 and outscored them 4-1. We're in the bottom of the fourth inning. The 2-1 is on the way. Popped high in the air on the right side. Frazier Hall seeing if he has a play at it in foul territory. He does not. So it just bounces on the awning just beyond the foul wall on the right side, and that's a souvenir for a young fan out there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now the count to the right fielder Brian Joint batting in the 5 hole. Right-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher. A runner at first base and nobody out. Air Hogs with 4 runs in the top half of this inning to take a 3-run lead. Hardin set at the letters. The 2-2 is on the way. That is popped foul into the screen, keeping the count where it is at 2-2. Brian Joint's been a pretty consistent hitter this year for Lincoln and has not been plagued by injury at all. Has played most of the games, 62 this year, and a .323 batting average, 6 home runs, 37 RBIs. Looks at another 2-2 pitch. He lines it up the middle, and it's another base hit. Slowly rolling to Madison Carter, who has to move quickly to get to that one. Gack stays at second on the single. And it's back-to-back base hits for the Salt Dogs, answering the Air Hogs rally in the fourth. Puts runners at first and second base and nobody out. Brandon Pinkney, the next batter. Pinkney doubled in the second inning and scored the first run of the game against his former team. Pinckney last season for the Airhogs led the team with 119 base hits, playing in all but 2 games and batting with an average of .296 last year for Grand Prairie. 4 home runs, 45 runs batted in. He pops this one foul down the right side, and it's 0-1 the count. So far with Lincoln in his at-bats, he is 5 for 17 in just 6 games. Collectively on the season, a .277 hitter with 7 home runs and 35 runs batted in. Played for 3 different teams so far in 2014, Grand Prairie, Amarillo, and now Lincoln, all in the American Association. Outside on the next pitch, it's an even count at 1-1. On deck, Mike Gilmartin. Runners at first and second base, nobody out. Salt Dogs threatening in this bottom of the 4th inning, trailing by 3 runs. The 1-1 is hit high in the air to left. It's actually going to stay in the infield as Jimmy Mojica will call for it. Infield fly rule in effect here as Pinckney will be automatically out on that one, and the runners will stay put on out number 1. Next batter is Mike Gilmartin, the shortstop, who grounded out to second base on a 4-1 put out in the second. Gilmartin, a left-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher, Trevor Hardin. Comes up with a runners in scoring position situation in this 4th inning. Hardin looks at second base where Gack is leading off. Mojica is there to hold him on if need be, as Gilmartin foul tips the first pitch into the mask of Brian Peterson, the catcher, for strike 1. Mike Gilmartin is a .212 hitter for Lincoln this season, and with runners in scoring position, Gilmartin is batting with an average of .207. The 0-1 is a little high and outside for a ball and a strike to count now. Matt Forgatch is on deck for Lincoln. It's runners at first and second base and 1 out. 4 base hits for each side, but the Airhogs outscoring Lincoln so far, 4-1. Airhogs also have 1 error in this game. The 1-1 from Hardin. That is upstairs, a snap throw to second base. Diving in is Gack. Mojica, no tag from him as he receives the throw from his catcher, and it's 2-1 to Mike Gilmartin. Gilmartin came in to Lincoln after playing in the Atlantic League for the Bridgeport Bluefish. 27 years old, a native of Atlanta, Georgia. 2-1 pitch hit high in the air to center. Madison Carter a few steps in, waiting for this one to come down, and he finally makes the catch for out number 2. So 2 big outs in the air for Trevor Hardin after giving up back-to-back singles. It'll bring up Matt Forgatch, the center fielder. Drew a walk in the second inning and then advanced all the way to third on a stolen base and a throwing error by the catcher Brian Peterson. Forgatch now tied in the stolen bases category for the team with 21 stolen bags on the year. He now comes into a tie with Chad Mazingo for the team lead. Forgatch, a right-handed batter against Hardin, the righty on the mound, and that's called strike 1 on the first pitch, an 84-mile-per-hour fastball. Matt Forgatch played for Lincoln last year. 25 years old and played his college ball at Pepperdine. Swings and misses at the next pitch, a changeup by Hardin, and he goes ahead in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Chris Anderson on deck if Forgatch extends the inning. Runners at first and second base, 2 outs. Airhogs up by 3 runs in the opener of this 4-game set here in Lincoln. Hardin with the 0-2 pitch home. Hit high in the air to left center field. This will be Madison Carter's ball as well. And he makes the grab for the 3rd out. No run score on 2 hits. 2 men left on the base pads by Lincoln after 4 complete innings here at Haymarket Park. It is 4-1 Airhogs. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. We start the 5th inning here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. 4-1 is your score in favor of the Airhogs. After a 4-run 4th inning by Grand Prairie, capped off by a 3-run home run by Jason Botts, and now they'll lead off this 5th with the 8-hitter Rede Rodriguez, followed by Madison Carter and Jimmy Mojica in the lineup. Rodriguez flew out to center field in the 3rd inning. So far 0 for 1. And Rodriguez 3 for 28 in his first 8 games with his new team, Grand Prairie. He looks at a pitch upstairs from Justin Cooks, the starting pitcher. And it's ball 1 to the 26-year-old native of Cuba. Was drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals in 2006 as he pops one foul down the right side. It's a ball and a strike. Played for them until 2011 and started his independent ball career the same year. Last played for the Brownsville Charros. And that's going to hit Rodriguez on what appears to be the left wrist, and he will walk to first base. Rodriguez wincing in pain after taking that pitch off of his hand there, but he appears to be all right. Trainer not going out to check on him. Madison Carter will be the next batter, as Rodriguez reaches on the plunk by Justin Cooks. Madison Carter grounded out to second base in the 3rd inning. Airhogs were sat down 1, 2, 3 in each of the first 3 innings by Justin Cooks, as the first pitch is popped in the air to right field, and that will be caught by Brian Joint for out number 1. So quickly 1 out with a runner at first base. The next batter is Jimmy Mojica, who started off that 4-run 4th inning for the Airhogs with a single, and then later scored in that 4th. Jimmy Mojica 1 for 2 tonight, and a batting average of .300 coming into this contest. A home run, 21 runs batted in for the 30-year-old veteran. A move to first. Just stepping in time is Rodriguez. Cooks has had some dangerous pickoff moves so far in this one. So Rodriguez being a little more careful leading off at first this time, as Cooks delivers home to Mojica. A fastball at 88 miles per hour, misses high for ball 1. Right-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. The 1-0 pitch is upcoming. Here it is. It's lined into right. It's straight to Brian Joint. He makes a few steps backwards to make that catch. Position himself perfectly for that fly ball to right field. And it's now 2 down. Next batter is Alex Nunez. Extended that 4th inning with a single that moved Mojica all the way to third base. So far 1 for 2 tonight, and he extended his hitting streak to 4 games. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Cook set at the belt. Here's the pitch. Showing bunt and pulling back on called strike one is Nunez. Just appeared to catch the lower end of the zone there. Alex Nunez, .366 hitter in his first 35 games as an Airhawk. Checks his swing. It bounces off of his bat and into the Salt Dogs dugout on the third base line. It's no balls and 2 strikes to Nunez. Airhogs so far are 3-6 against Lincoln. This is their second road series against them. They've also hosted them in a couple of 3-game sets in 2014. 0-2 pitch is upstairs, ball 1. Total of 13 meetings between these two in 2014. This is number 10. Airhogs play Lincoln more than any other cross-divisional opponent this year. The 1-2 is on the way. It's swung on and foul tipped. And he thought that the catcher dropped that one, did Nunez, and he's talking with the home plate umpire, Sean Hicks, about it, but Hicks said that Anderson held on behind the dish on the foul tip, and it will be the third out. That's strikeout number 6 for Justin Cooks on the night, and it ends the top of the 5th. No runs, no hits, a man left on base. It is 4-0 going to the bottom of the 5th inning here in Lincoln, Nebraska. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhawks Baseball. Welcome back. Bottom of the 5th inning now here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. 4-1 the score. Airhogs on top of Lincoln in the opener of this 4-game set on a Wednesday evening here in the Midwest. Leading off is the 9-hitter for the Salt Dogs. That's the catcher Chris Anderson, followed by Chad Mazingo and Luis Nunez. Chris Anderson, a fly out to center field to start off his night. He's 0 for 1. A .222 hitter coming into this game for the Salt Dogs. A couple of home runs and 19 driven in. Trevor Harden starting inning number 5. So far in his first 3 starts, he has gone at least 6 innings. In 2014 against his former Lincoln Salt Dogs club. And that's strike 1. The first pitch to Anderson is taken on the outside corner. Here is the 0-1. And it is popped in the air, and it'll go out of play down the right side. No balls and 2 strikes to the catcher, Chris Anderson. Anderson played his college ball at San Diego State. Last played in the Belgian League for the Namur Angels. He is 28 years old and now lives in San Diego, California. Checks his swing on the pitch low and outside, blocked in the dirt to his right side by Peterson. A ball and 2 strikes now to Chris Anderson. Righty versus righty. Trevor Harden winding up for the 1-2 pitch. Here it is. Bounced straight back off of the catcher's guard. And it's still a ball and 2 strikes. Airhogs with 4 runs in the 4th inning of this one, answering the Salt Dogs' 1 run that came in the 2nd. The 1-2 pitch on the way, and it's in the dirt again. Bounces away from Peterson, but nobody on base to trouble him, and now it's a 2 balls and 2 strike count 4 base hits for each team, but the Air Hogs have capitalized on their runners on base so far in this one, as the next pitch is upstairs and it's a full count. Air Hogs so far in this game, just 1 man left on base, and it came in the last inning, the 5th. 3-2 pitch is swung on and missed. And out number 1 comes via the strikeout. It is the third punch out, or the second strikeout of the game, for Trevor Hardin. 1 down for Chad Mazingo, the former Air Hog. 0 for 2 tonight. A fly out to center and right field. As the Air Hogs start to crowd the right side of the field, especially the infield diamond where Mojica is playing directly behind second base as the shortstop, as Hardin delivers strike 1 on the outside edge to Chad Mazinga. 21 stolen bases, that's 4th best in the American Association for the speedy left fielder as he looks at a pitch on the inside edge, just misses the zone. Now a ball and a strike. Wind up in the 1-1 from Hardin. Bounced on the ground. It'll be Botts who stops it and flips to first. Hardin there at the first base bag. It's 2 down. Two up and 2 down for the next batter, Luis Nunez. I keep wanting to say Alex. These two second basemen in this game are quite similar. Not only do they have the same last name, but they bat second in the lineup. They play at second base, and they're both from Venezuela. Not only that, they're both veterans for their respective teams. Luis Nunez tonight is 1 for 2. He grabbed an infield single in the first inning, did not score, was stranded on the base pads, and then flew out to center field on a diving catch by Madison Carter. So a couple of good strikes from the bat by Luis Nunez so far in this game as he looks at ball 1 low and outside. Now the next pitch, he takes it again, and this one's in the zone, right down the middle, in fact. A ball and a strike now to Nunez. He last played for the AAA club for the Atlanta Braves. That's Gwinnett. As that's going to be bounced on a broken bat by Nunez, and it's over to second base. Nunez, the second baseman for the Air Hogs, throws to first to throw out the second baseman Nunez for the Salt Dogs. That'll end the 5th inning. A 1-2-3 inning for Hardin. And 4-1 is your score still in favor of the Air Hogs as we move to the 6th. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. After 5, it's 4-1 Air Hogs. We start the 6th here at Haymarket Park with Abel Nieves leading it off. He'll be followed by Jason Botts and Brian Myro in the lineup. 3, 4, 5 hitters for Grand Prairie. Nieves last time up drove in a run on a single. He is 1 for 2 tonight. He also scored a run in the 4th. Good showing in the All-Star game last night in Winnipeg for Abel. Batted 8th in the lineup, started at third base, and went 2 for 4 with a run scored as the South All-Star team defeated the North 7-0 in this year's All-Star game. First pitch is inside for ball 1 to Abel Nieves, who's batting .329 with 28 RBIs with the Air Hogs this year. Just outside on the next pitch, it's 3-0 the count. Nieves was last year's batting champ with a .357 batting average with the Wichita Wingnuts. Played in all but one game for Wichita last year as he swings and misses at the next one. And it's now 2 balls and 1 strike the count. Jason Botts on deck. Abel Nieves, 28 years old, facing the pitch from Justin Cooks. Right back to the pitcher, and a quick reaction there by Cooks. He flips the first for the out. He fielded that one on one hop, but it was a hard-hit ground ball right back to the pitcher. And a nice job by Cooks in the field that time for out number 1. Jason Botts the batter now. So far, the biggest hit of the game has gone to him. A 3-run shot to right center field to give the Air Hogs their 3-run lead that they currently hold in this top of the 6th. Botts looks at strike 1 on a fastball in the outside corner at 83 on the gun. Botts now with 9 home runs this season and 54 RBIs, leads the Air Hogs in both of those offensive categories. A pitch low and inside now. It's a ball and a strike to the 34-year-old veteran Jason Botts. Just turned 34 years old last weekend. Switch hitter batting lefty against Cooks, the right-handed pitcher. The windup in the 1-1, lined foul into the seats, and that was a screamer. Just beyond the field level section here at Haymarket Park, and hopefully nobody injured by that blasted line drive by Jason Botts. A ball and 2 strikes now with Brian Myro on deck. Here's the windup in the pitch. Low and outside, It's now an even count again at 2-2. Jason Botts has played in just about any league that you can think of, including the Mexican League, the Japanese League, also in the major leagues for a brief time between 2005 and 2008 with the Texas Rangers. Was drafted by the Rangers at the start of his professional career and played for their minor league system for 8 seasons, including 4 seasons appearing in the big leagues. A pitch upstairs, and it's a full count now to Jason Botts. Cooks with the windup in the pitch home. That is bounced on the ground to second base. Nunez grabs it and throws softly over to first. Makes the out on Botts. That's 2 down. Two outs, nobody on base. A 3-run lead for the Air Hogs. The next batter is Brian Myro, who is 0 for 2. Strikeout looking in the second, and a fly out to center field in the 4th. Cooks winds up, delivers a fastball inside, and it's ball 1 to Myro. Justin Cooks so far, 4 runs given up on just 4 hits in 5 2/3 innings of work, as that is popped foul by Myro, and it's now a ball and a strike. So far, no base hits for either team since the 4th inning, as Justin Cooks will wind up and deliver the next pitch. That's hit in the air to center field, shallow center, but Forgatch, no problem for him as he charges in to make the grab, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Justin Cooks in the 6th. Keeps the score at 4-1. Air Hogs moving to the bottom half of the 6th inning here at Haymarket Park in the first of this 4-game set. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Now back for the bottom of the 6th inning here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Haymarket Park is the location, and the Airhogs have the 4-1 lead as Trevor Hardin is back for inning number 6. He has gone at least 6 innings in each of the first 3 starts he's had against his former team, the Lincoln Salt Dogs, this year. One of those outings he went 7 complete innings. That was on May 21st when he struck out 10 batters. We'll see how long he can go in this one with a 4-1 lead. So far, Trevor Hardin has only allowed 1 run on 4 hits. 2 strikeouts and a walk in this one through 5 complete innings. The first batter he'll face in this 6th is John Gaston. Grounded to the first baseman, Jason Botts. He'll take it to the bag himself. Infield shift was on, so Botts was in perfect position on the first base line to field that ground ball, and it's 1 pitch, 1 out in the 6th for Trevor Hardin. Now Ian Gack will be the batter. He is 1 for 2 tonight. A leadoff single in the 4th inning for the first baseman, Gack. Batting in the cleanup hole, he'll be followed by Brian Joint. Ian Gack 1 for 2 tonight and trying to improve his batting average, which is at .358 right now. First pitch from Hardin is taken upstairs for ball 1. Right now, Ian Gack in the season standings is just 31 points behind the batting leader right now, Casey Harther of Winnipeg. Harther at .389 and Gack at .358, so not far off from the batting title. 2-0 the count. Here's the pitch from Hardin, bounced on the ground, foul. Down the third base line, it's 2-1. Gack also leads the league in slugging percentage at .674 coming into today. 15 home runs as well. Leads the team and his second in the American Association. The 2-1 pitch just in the dirt low. 3-1 the count to Gack, who was a draft pick of the Texas Rangers in 2003 in the 26th round. Came to the Salt Dogs midseason last year from the Atlantic League when he played for Southern Maryland. He's going to take a walk. Next pitch was outside from Hardin, and it's the second walk of the game allowed by the 26-year-old right-hander. Puts a man on first with 1 out in the bottom of the 6th inning. Next batter, Brian Joint. Joint singled in the 4th inning as well. Airhogs were able to get out of that jam in the 4th, stranding runners at first and second base. Gack at first base with 1 out now in this bottom of the 6th. Trevor Hardin delivers home to Joint. Popped in the air, it's foul and out of play. Strike 1 to Brian Joint, who is 1 for 2 tonight. Joint a .323 batting average and now a 4-game hitting streak. 6 home runs, 37 RBIs for Joint. The 0-1 pitch. Bounced on the ground to Mojica. He bobbles it, goes to second base, just gets the out, flipping to Nunez, who covered the bag at second. And that's the only out that the Airhogs will get. No throw over to first. So Joint reaching on the fielder's choice. It's now 2 down. But Mojica doing a great job to get the lead runner at second. Now the next batter will be former Airhog Brandon Pinckney. Pinckney 1 for 2 tonight, doubled and scored in the 2nd inning. He scored on a passed ball. So far, no RBI hits for the Salt Dogs in this one as they trail at 4-1 to Grand Prairie. The first pitch to Pinckney is on the outside edge for strike 1. Pinckney made his Amarillo Sox debut this year against Grand Prairie. The Sox were the next opponent to visit Quick Trip Park after Pinckney was released during the early part of the homestand in mid-June of this season. Pinckney started out this year with Grand Prairie, as well as spending his time with the Air Hogs all of last year, leading the team in base hits with 119. Swings and misses. Had a pitch there. He actually got a small piece of that, thumping the mitt of Peterson on that foul tip, and it's 0-2 the count against the 32-year-old veteran Brandon Pinckney. 2 outs, a man at first base. 3-run lead for the Air Hogs. The 0-2 pitch to Brandon Pinckney is now on the way from Hardin. A fastball at 84. Hardin thought he had strike 3 on the outside corner there, but just missing, ball 1. Brandon Pinckney played at second base for the Air Hogs and the Sox in the early part of this season. Now tonight he is at third for Lincoln. So far, Pinckney has played 6 games with the Salt Dogs in 2014. Fouls that one into the screen, still a ball and 2 strikes. Pinckney spent a long time in affiliated ball in the early part of his career. Most of it was spent in the Cleveland Indians minor league system. Right-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher Trevor Hardin. A runner at first, that's Brian Joint. 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. 1 ball, 2 strike pitch on the way. Outside, runner going. The tag is in time. Brian Peterson nails the runner, Brian Joint, to end the 6th inning. And nobody left on base there by the Salt Dogs as the Air Hogs clear the bases to end that 6th. No runs, no hits, no errors, no base runners left. And after 6, it's still 4-1 in favor of the Air Hogs in the first of this 4-game set. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball, live on Ustream. I'm Andy Humphrey. We now start the 7th inning here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. Air Hogs lead by 3 runs over the Salt Dogs at this point, and Brian Peterson, the catcher, will lead it off for Grand Prairie. Peterson tonight 0 for 2. He'll be followed by Frazier Hall and Rede Rodriguez, the 6, 7, 8 hitters in the lineup, due up for Grand Prairie against Justin Cooks, the starter for Lincoln, who is out there for another inning, the 7th of this outing against Grand Prairie. Winds up and delivers the first pitch to Peterson. He takes it upstairs for ball 1. Cooks, so far, not over 80 pitches. That was number 79 that you just saw there. Here's the 1-0. Hit high in the air to center field. Forgatch going back a few yards away from the warning track, and he will make the grab. Hanging up too high in the air for Brian Peterson, and it's 1 down in the 7th for Justin Cooks. Now Frazier Hall will be the batter. Hall so far has struck out twice tonight, going 0 for 2 so far. Left-handed batter against right-handed pitcher Justin Cooks. This hasn't been a characteristic of Frazier Hall as of late. A pretty consistent hitter for the Air Hogs so far. Got a 6-game hitting streak right now. Looks at ball 1 outside. Frazier Hall, 26 years old, playing in right field for this one. He's listed as an infielder on the roster. He's played at 1st and 3rd this year for Eric Champion and the Air Hogs. But also is pretty serviceable out there and right. Looks at a pitch on the outside edge for strike one. Now here's the 1-1 pitch, a swing and a miss, an 88-mile-per-hour fastball high in the zone. But Frazier Hall whiffing at that one. He's behind 1-2 in the count. Rede Rodriguez on deck for Grand Prairie. Now Cooks winds up for the 1-2. It's a little upstairs, and it's ball one. So far, we haven't had a base hit since the fourth inning. 4 base hits for each team, but the Airhogs with a 4-1 advantage in the runs column. 2-2 pitch, tipped foul into the screen by Frazier Hall, keeping the count where it is at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 6 home runs and 25 RBIs for Frazier, and a .282 batting average coming into this game. Next pitch is popped high in the air, but it's going to go foul behind the screen. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Airhogs are 3-6 against Lincoln this year. This is the 10th of 13 meetings between these two cross-division opponents. Swing and a miss on a pitch low from Cooks. And Frazier Hall striking out for the 3rd time tonight. That is strikeout number 7 for Cooks in this outing, and it's 2 down in the 7th. Next batter, Rede Rodriguez. Hit by a pitch in his last appearance. So far 0 for 1 in tonight's game. He calls time before the pitch and takes one warm-up swing. Right-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher, Justin Cooks. He's been controlling his pitch count pretty well. So far in the 80 to 90 range, and it's low on the first one to Rodriguez for ball one. Rodriguez batted .317 in the early part of this 2014 season with the Brownsville Charros in the United League as he looks at strike one on the outside corner, but not starting out the same way with his new team, the Airhogs. So far, 3 for 28 in his at-bats. Came into this game with a .111 batting average. That's upstairs on the 80-mile-per-hour fastball from Justin Cooks. 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 outs, nobody on base. On deck is Madison Carter if Rede can reach here. The 2-1 chopped to the shortstop, Gil Martin. It's going to be a tough throw, but Gil Martin with a bullet to first to nab Rodriguez. And it's another 1-2-3 inning for Cooks. He has sat down the last 9 Airhogs batters. And we move to the bottom of the 7th inning. But not before our 7th inning stretch here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. 4-1 is your score. The Airhogs on top. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. Bottom of the 7th inning. The Airhogs leading the Salt Dogs 4-1. And leading off this bottom of the 7th will be Brandon Pinkney. Worked himself to a 2 balls and 2 strike count in that bottom of the 6th, but the inning was ended by a caught stealing when Brian Joint was trying to steal second base. The catcher, Brian Peterson, putting him out. We're actually assisting on the play to Jimmy Mojica, who made the tag at short. So the 2-6 caught stealing, ending the sixth inning. Now Pinckney will get another chance with a fresh count here against Trevor Hardin, back out there for inning number 7. Going to reach 100 pitches in this 7th inning. He's now at 97. And he delivers strike 1 right down the middle to Brandon Pinckney. Airhogs up 4-1, 4 base hits for each team. It's been a real pitcher's duel since the 4th. As this is popped foul, and it'll go out of play down the right side. No balls and 2 strikes against Brandon Pinckney, the former Grand Prairie Airhog. Batted .255 with the Airhogs this season before being released by the team on June 16th of this year. In the dirt, it's seen by Pinckney. It's a ball and 2 strikes. He'll be followed by Mike Gilmartin and Matt Forgatch in the lineup, the 6, 7, 8 hitters. 1-2 pitch on the way. Bounced on the ground to third. Nieves will spin around to make the throw, and it is a pretty nice play there by the All-Star Abel Nieves to put out Brandon Pinckney at first base for out number 1. Now the next batter is Mike Gilmartin. So far, Gilmartin on the night is 0 for 2. Put out 4-1 in the second inning as he grounded out to second base and then flew out to center field in the 4th. Gilmartin batting 7th in the lineup. Left-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher, Trevor Hardin. Here's the pitch on the ground to first, and Botts will take it himself to the bag. And that's quickly 2 outs for Trevor Hardin in the 7th inning. Well, Trevor Hardin has 1 complete game this year. That 1 complete game came against the Gary South Shore Railcats on June 16th when he only gave up 2 runs on 5 hits against the Railcats and 7 strikeouts, no walks. He's also gone 8 innings against Wichita and 7 2/3 against the Three Rivers Eagles. Longest he's gone against the Salt Dogs this year is 7 innings. He's now at 6 2/3. Delivers strike 1 to the next batter, Matt Forgatch. The next pitch is hit to shortstop, and a big throw by Jimmy Mojica across his body. He had to go to his right to field it and makes a nice throw over to first and on line there to Jason Botts. And it's another 1-2-3 inning in the 7th for Trevor Hardin. So after 7 innings, it is still 4-1 our score. The Airhogs on top, looking for another road victory here in Lincoln. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Top of the 8th inning, the Airhogs leading 4-1 over the Salt Dogs. The opener of this 4-game set here in Lincoln. Leading it off is Madison Carter. And back for the 8th inning is Lincoln starter Justin Cooks, looking to record his longest outing of the season. He has not gone longer than 7 innings all year in his first 10 starts. Now trying to go 7+ here against the Airhogs in start number 11 as he delivers strike one to Madison Carter, who foul tips that one into the mitt of Chris Anderson, the catcher. Madison Carter tonight 0 for 2, a ground out to second base and a fly out to right. That is called strike two on the outside corner to Madison Carter, the 22-year-old rookie out of the University of Texas. He'll be followed by Jimmy Mojica and Alex Nunez in the lineup. Here's the 0-2 from Cooks. Just a little outside on the slider at 77 miles per hour, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Madison Carter playing in center field in place of Eric Baker, who has gotten most of the starts in center for Grand Prairie this year. This is lined on the ground and fair into the hole between third and short and into left field for a leadoff single by Madison Carter. So Carter trying to start a hitting streak here. He didn't get a hit in his last game, so now 1 for 3 tonight. And he brings up Jimmy Mojica, who is also 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored in the 4th inning. So far, that's the first base hit that we have seen for either side since the first. And now a pickoff move gets away from the first baseman Gack and taking second base, and now third is Madison Carter. He goes 2 bases on the throwing error by the pitcher, Justin Cooks. Cooks moved over to first base, and it just got past the first baseman, Ian Gack, and that will be a throwing error ruled to the pitcher, Cooks. And taking 2 bases on the play is Madison Carter. He is now 90 feet away from the 5th run of the game by the Airhogs on that throwing error with nobody out in the top of the 8th inning. And now the infield for Lincoln is shifted in towards the grass for Mojica, who will try to drive in Carter now. Still haven't seen the first pitch to Mojica. Now here it is. Little high and inside for ball 1. Jimmy Mojica with runners in scoring position this year, batting with an average of .306. That's compared to his normal batting average of .300. The 0-1 lined into left. It's a base hit, and Carter will score to make it 5-1 Airhogs. An RBI single by Jimmy Mojica. Give him 22 driven in on the year and extends the Airhogs lead to 4 runs late in the game here in the 8th inning. So now Mojica 2 for 4 with both a run scored and an RBI in this game, and he brings up the next batter, Alex Nunez. Nunez also 1 for 3, a single and a run scored came in the 4th. That's called strike 1 to Nunez, who struck out in his last at-bat in the 5th. Left-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher, Justin Cooks, and you can expect that he probably won't pick off again to first after that throwing error that gave Madison Carter 2 bases. A ball and a strike now to Alex Nunez, who has 19 RBIs in his first 35 games with the Airhogs this year. The 1-1 pitch, just a little outside. No, it's called strike 2 on the outside edge of the plate. And make the count a ball and 2 strikes to Alex Nunez, the 33-year-old veteran second baseman. Abel Nieves is on deck for the Airhogs. Still nobody out, a runner at first base. And they have tacked 1 more on the board to extend the lead to 4 runs. Just outside the plate this time, it's now an even count at 2-2 to Nunez. Justin Cooks had not allowed a base hit since the 4th inning and had retired the last 9 Airhogs batters before giving one up to Carter earlier in this inning. That's a bouncer to the shortstop, Gil Martin. They will flip it to the second baseman, Nunez, to force out the lead runner, Mojica. As Nunez reaches, Alex Nunez that is, he reaches to first base on the fielder's choice, and it's now 1 down in the top of the 8th inning. So 6-4 put out on Mojica. And the next batter will be Abel Nieves. Cooks closing in on 100 pitches now as he delivers the first one to Nieves. Tipped into the screen, it's strike 1. Nieves an RBI single in the 4th inning. He also scored a run in the 4th. So far 1 for 3 tonight. Nunez leading off at first base. He's got 8 stolen bases with the Airhogs this year. A tie for the team lead with Mojica. Move to first, and he got tagged out by Gack. And finally, Justin Cook's quick pickoff move pays off there as he empties the bases now and makes it 2 outs. Nunez tried to step into the first base bag without trying to dive back, and Ian Gack with a nice tag to the midsection of Alex Nunez for the second out. And that's called strike 2 to Abel Nieves, the batter. Cook's now at the 0-2 pitch, and it's way outside, so Cook's not losing confidence in his pickoff move despite a throwing error on a move to first when he tried to nab Madison Carter. That gave Carter 2 bases and eventually allowed him to score on the Mojica single. That is popped foul on the right side, and Nieves still a ball and 2 strike count against him with Jason Botts on deck. 2 outs and nobody on base now. Abel Nieves went 2 for 4 last night in the All-Star game, starting at third base and batting in the 8th spot. That's just outside. It's now 2 balls and 2 strikes to the 28-year-old Abel Nieves. And now it's 5 status player, meaning that he's just 1 year away from achieving veteran status in the American Association. Last year's batting champ with the Wichita Wingnuts as well. 2-2 pitch on the way from Cooks. And that's high and inside, ducking from that one. That 84-mile-per-hour fastball from Cooks was Abel Nieves. That fills the count. Right-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. 2 outs, nobody on base. And now a payoff pitch upcoming to Abel Nieves. Here it is from Cooks. Just high, and it's ball 4. So Nieves will take a 2-out walk by Justin Cooks. And that is the first walk allowed by Cooks in the game. He has hit 1 batter, but that's the first base on balls for Cooks, who has 7 strikeouts in this one. Airhogs have out-hit the Salt Dogs 6-4 and outscored them 5-1. Now an error for both sides, as the next batter is Jason Botts. The pitch to him is in there for called strike 1, appeared to be on the lower end of the zone. Botts, a 3-run home run in the 4th inning. That has been our difference maker so far in this game. The 0-1 pitch hit high in the air to left. Is it fair? No. Just bouncing off of the fencing that separates the Salt Dogs bullpen from the field of play on the left side of Haymarket Park. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. Brian Myro on deck if Botts extends the inning here. A runner at first base and 2 outs in the top of the 8th. Airhogs have tacked on 1 run in this top half of the 8th inning to extend their lead to 5-1 over Lincoln. No balls and 2 strike pitch. That is bounced through the hole between first and second base. Botts with a single. And getting into second is Nieves. A throw to second base as Nieves getting back to the bag after a wide turn at second. Botts 2 for 4 tonight now, and he brings up Brian Myro, the DH. Myro tonight 0 for 3. Trying to extend his hitting streak to 3 games. A couple of flyouts to center field as well as a strikeout looking in this one. Cooks with the opening pitch. It's called for strike 1. Brian Myro activated from the DL last month. Made his debut against Wichita. Has spent the last 3 years here in Grand Prairie, both as a player and a coach. That's driven hard into right field, and it is just caught on a leap by Brian Joint, and that's a great play in right as he went all the way back to the warning track, almost ran into the wall to make that catch. A nice hit by Myro, but Joint taking away that base hit and possibly an RBI there. And it ends the top of the 8th. A run scores for the Airhogs on 3 hits, an error by the Salt Dogs, and 2 men left on base. We move to the bottom of the 8th inning. The score is now 5-1 in favor of Grand Prairie. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Bottom of the 8th inning now here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. So far, we have just reached 2 hours of gameplay. It's been a quick evening of baseball here as we start the bottom of the 8th. Both starting pitchers are still in the game. Trevor Hardin going for 8 complete innings now. There is a little bit of action in the bullpen for Grand Prairie, and a right-hander warming up. Can't exactly see who it is out there beyond the right field wall here at Haymarket Park. As Trevor Hardin delivers the first pitch, and it's just low to the first batter of this 8th inning, Chris Anderson. He is 0 for 2 tonight, a fly out to center field and a strikeout swing. Next pitch, chopped on the ground to shortstop. Mojica charging into the grass. The throw to first is just in time, and Bonds had to stretch to make that one. Kept his foot on the bag, beating Anderson by about a full step to the bag. There is Mojica on the throw, and it's 1 down in the 8th. That'll bring up the top of the order for Lincoln. The left fielder, Chad Mazingo, tonight is 0 for 3. Fly out to center, fly out to right, and a ground out to first base. The shift is on to the right side for the Grand Prairie Airhogs infield. That's called strike 1 on the outside corner from Trevor Hardin. He's now gone 7 innings in this one. He went 7 innings against the Salt Dogs on May 21st, and now looking for his longest outing against Lincoln this year in his 4th start against his former club. Snowballs and 2 strikes against Chad Mazingo. Hardin has 1 complete game this season. It came on June 16th against the Gary South Shore Railcats. The 0-2 pitch is on the way to Chad Mazingo. That's on the ground. Bots to his right. He stops it. Tosses to the pitcher, Hardin, who goes to the bag, and that's out number 2. So once again, the shift proving to be beneficial for the Airhogs on the left-handed batter, Chad Mazingo. That's 2 down in the 8th. And the next batter is Luis Nunez. Luis Nunez, the second baseman for Lincoln. In his last at-bat, he grounded it out to the Airhogs second baseman, Alex Nunez. That was back in the 5th inning. So far, Nunez is 1 for 3 tonight with an infield single. Tips this one foul into the screen, strike 1. Hardin is over 100 pitches now. That was just number 110 that you just saw. The 0-1 is now on the way. Swing and a miss on an 81-mile-per-hour fastball there. Drifting low and away, I should point out as well. And it's 0-2 to Alex Nunez. John Gaston is on deck if Nunez reaches base here with 2 outs and nobody on base. Wind up in the 0-2 from Hardin. Just outside. That fastball was at 85 this time. A ball and 2 strikes to Nunez. 5-1 is your score in favor of the Airhogs. They've out-hit the Salt Dogs 7-4. And an error for each team in this one as well. Next pitch is hit high in the air to left center. A few steps in for Madison Carter to make the grab, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Hardin in the 8th inning. And after 8 complete innings here at Haymarket Park, the Airhogs have a 4-run lead over Lincoln. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball. We're starting the ninth inning here at Haymarket Park. The Airhogs up 5-1 on the Salt Dogs in the first of this four-game set. New pitcher for the Salt Dogs for this ninth inning. It is right-hander Jake Myers out of the pen. Myers this season with an ERA of 5.55 in 17 appearances with Lincoln this season. 24 in the third innings pitched and a record of 1-3. Myers last played for the El Paso Diablos last year. Also a rookie out of Florida Atlantic University. He is 23 years old. Comes in relief of Justin Cooks, who went 8 innings for Lincoln as their starter. 5 earned runs on 7 hits, 7 strikeouts, and 1 walk for the rookie starting pitcher. Brian Peterson will be the first batter of this ninth inning for the Airhogs, facing off against the first reliever of the game that we have seen, Jake Myers. Trevor Harden still in after 8 innings for the Airhogs. We'll see if he returns for the ninth inning to try and finish off a complete game. Brian Peterson tonight 0 for 3 with a strikeout in the second inning. Pops this one high into right center field. Calling for it is Forgatch, the center fielder, makes the grab. 1 pitch, 1 out for Jake Myers in relief. Well, now it's Frazier Hall's turn to bat. Frazier Hall is 0 for 3 with 3 swinging strikeouts. So obviously hasn't been able to make contact against Justin Cooks, the starter. We'll see if he can do so against Myers, the reliever. He looks at strike 1 on the outside corner there. Uncharacteristic of Hall to strike out so much in this one. He brought a 6-game hitting streak to this game. That is off of the mid of the catcher, goes into the screen. It's ball 1. Frazier Hall, a .282 hitter this year, 6 home runs and 25 RBIs for the Airhogs in 2014. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. The windup in the 1-1 is on the way. That is swung on and foul-tipped into the screen again by Frazier Hall. On deck, Rede Rodriguez for the Airhogs. Went out, nobody on base in the top of the ninth inning. And the Airhogs looking to get maybe one more insurance run here in this top of the ninth with a 4-run lead. 1-2 pitch on the way. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. The third base umpire, Troy Solsa, says that Hall went around the plate, and that is 4 swinging strikeouts by Hall in this game. And he looks visibly frustrated there, walking back slowly to the dugout on out number 2 in the ninth inning. So not a good night at the plate for Hall. It brings up Rede Rodriguez, who is 0 for 2 in this one. He was hit by a pitch in the 5th inning. Looks at strike 1 on an 89-mile-per-hour fastball from Jake Myers. Rodriguez in left for this one. So far batting 3 for 29 in his first 8 games with the Airhogs. Was signed by the Airhogs just about a week and a half ago. The 1-1 pitch bounced off of the batter, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Airhogs so far are 3-6 against Lincoln on the season, and Trevor Harden will most likely be looking for a complete game in this one, which would be his second complete game of 2014. That is in the dirt and outside for ball 2 to Rede Rodriguez. Airhogs have out-hit the Salt Dogs 7-4 and outscored them 5-1. The 2-2 to Rodriguez, 1 hop, and it's fielded by the second baseman Nunez. Turns around, goes to first for the out, and a 1-2-3 ninth inning for Jake Myers in relief. So after 8.5 innings, the Airhogs lead 5-1, and Trevor Harden jogging back out to the mound to try and finish off a complete game. We'll be back with the bottom of the ninth after this. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Bottom of the ninth inning, Air Hogs 5, Salt Dogs 1. Trevor Hardin looking for his second complete game of the season. The first one came on June 16th against the Gary South Shore Railcats. And looking also for his first win of the season in his against Lincoln. So far he has made 3 starts against them prior to this one. He will face the 3-4-5 part of the lineup for Lincoln. It leads off with John Gaston, then Ian Gack and Brian Joint. The infield is shifted to the right side for John Gaston, the first batter of this bottom of the ninth inning. First pitch is taken on the outside edge for strike 1. Gaston tonight 0 for 3. He has grounded out twice to first base. He's also flown out to center field. The 0-1 pitch is tipped into the backstop by Gaston. No balls and 2 strikes now. Trevor Hardin just over 110 pitches now in this game. He has gone longer than 8 innings twice in 2014. He went 8 innings against Wichita in late June. Prior to this start, he hadn't gone longer than 7 against the Salt Dogs all year. That breaking pitch is just outside. And a ball and 2 strikes now to John Gaston. Gaston played his college ball at the University of Arizona. He lives in Boise, Idaho. Last season also played for Laredo in addition to Lincoln. Swing and a miss on a pitch in the dirt. And he's going to run to first base now. Is Gaston on the drop third strike, and he will be put out there 2-3 by Brian Peterson. That's out number 1 in the bottom of the ninth inning. That's just the 3rd strikeout of the game by Trevor Hardin. He has allowed 2 walks in this game and only given up 1 run, and it was unearned in the 2nd inning. It scored on a passed ball by Brian Peterson. So Hardin still no unearned runs, or no earned runs, I should say, in this one. He now faces Ian Gack, who is 1 for 2 tonight with a single and a walk. He takes strike 1 on the outside corner. 0-1 the count. The Air Hogs were on the other end, the losing end of the complete game in their previous matchup against the Laredo Lemurs. Jeremy Strawn getting the complete game shutout against the Air Hogs on Sunday night. A nasty breaking pitch by Trevor Hardin, and Gack chases that one to fall behind. No balls and 2 strikes in the count. So Trevor Hardin still some great control on that breaking pitch, even here in the bottom of the ninth inning. Here's the 0-2. That is swung on and popped into the screen by Ian Gack. Still no balls and 2 strikes. Brian Joint on deck for the Salt Dogs. Trevor Hardin so far has sat down the last 7 Salt Dogs batters. He also hasn't allowed a base hit since the 4th inning. That's ball 1 outside. So a great performance here from Trevor Hardin. Just 1 run allowed, and it was unearned in the 2nd. So if he finished this one scoreless in the 9th, he can really improve his ERA with 9 consecutive innings without an earned run. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That pitch is upstairs. Now the windup in the 2-2 from Hardin. Popped high in the air. It's going foul down the right side, and it'll be a souvenir for a Lincoln fan. Air Hogs have out-hit the Salt Dogs 7-4 and outscored them 5-1, but it has been all about Trevor Hardin in this one. Looking for his second complete game of the season. 2-2 pitch. Popped foul again. Down the right side, going to bounce off of the roof here at Haymarket Park. Trevor Hardin, just 26 years old. Played for Lincoln last year, appeared 8 times in relief, but he spent the majority of 2014 in the Frontier League playing for Rockford and making his 13th start of the season with Grand Prairie tonight. This is driven into left center. Going back is Rodriguez off of his glove, goes back to the wall. And now into second base is Gack. on what will be ruled a double. And Ian Gack improves his league best slugging percentage with that double. That is number 16 on the season. That puts himself in scoring position for the next batter, Brian Joint. There is some action in the bullpen for the Air Hogs. Dakota Watts was throwing some warm-up tosses in the pen earlier, and Eric Champion was making a call from the dugout to have somebody get up and start warming up for Trevor Harden if he, in fact, cannot finish out this ninth inning. He delivers ball one low to Brian Joint, who is 1 for 3 tonight, a single in the fourth. That's right down the middle for called strike one, and it's now an even count, a ball and a strike. Brian Joint, a batting average of .323 coming into tonight's game, as well as a .169 batting average with runners in scoring position. Excuse me, that's somebody else's. That's Forgatch. Brian Joint is doing much better with runners in scoring position, batting .338 this season. He's been a pretty solid hitter for Lincoln. Fouls off a pitch off of the Air Hogs dugout on the first base line. It's a ball and 2 strikes. 1 out, a runner at second base. In the bottom of the ninth inning, Trevor Harden, the Air Hogs starter, looking for his second complete game of the season, as well as trying to move his season record to 6-2 on the year. A breaking pitch is in there for called strike 3, a 70-mile-per-hour curve, and Harden rings up Brian Joint on that pitch, and it's 2 down here in the ninth inning, and former Grand Prairie Air Hog Brandon Pinckney steps to the batter's box. 4 strikeouts for Harden in the game, 2 in this inning. Brandon Pinckney has scored the only Salt Dogs run so far in this one. He grabbed a double in the second and scored on a pass ball. First pitch, swing and a miss, 85 miles per hour on the heater by Trevor Harden. And Pinckney not able to catch up. It's strike 1. Brandon Pinckney playing at third base. Earlier this season with Grand Prairie and Amarillo, he was at second. He's got an 0-1 count against him. Here's the pitch. Low and outside on the fastball this time from Harden. It's a ball and a strike. The Air Hogs are 29-37 on the year, looking for win number 30 and trying to move to 4-6 against Lincoln on the season. A ball and a strike. The pitch is on the way from Harden. Swing and a miss. Another fastball. Harden has gone fastball, fastball, fastball against Pinckney in this at-bat so far, and he's ahead 1-2. If Pinckney extends the inning, Mike Gilmartin is on deck. Righty versus righty, a man at second base, 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth inning. Harden a strike away from a complete game. The 1-2 is on the way. That is popped foul, and it will be out of play over the roof. Trevor Harden so far does not have a decision in his first 3 starts against his former team, the Lincoln Salt Dogs, this year. Wants it to be a complete game victory for him tonight. The 1-2 is now upcoming from the 26-year-old right-hander. Bounced foul down the first base line, and it's going to be a souvenir from the first base coach for Lincoln as Pinckney stays alive in the count, 1-2 strikes. A runner at second base and 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth inning. The Air Hogs have won 8 of their last 12 road games, as well as a series win in each of their last 4 road series this year. The 1-2 pitch on the way from Harden. Swing and a miss, 85 miles per hour, and the Air Hogs win it. A complete game from Trevor Harden on the 5-1 victory by Grand Prairie over the Lincoln Salt Dogs in the first of this 4-game set. Trevor Harden gives up 1 unearned run in this game on 5 base hits, and goes the full distance, his second complete game of the season, and he moves his season record to 6-2 on the year. A big night for the 26-year-old right-hander for the Grand Prairie Airhogs, and they slap hands on their 30th win of the season. They win it by a score of 5-1 here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. So your winning pitcher, obviously, is Trevor Hardin, going the full distance here at Haymarket Park. The loss is going to go to Justin Cooks, the starter, who had a good outing, 8 innings pitched, with 5 runs given up on 7 hits. And we will be back here tomorrow night at 7:05 p.m. for the second of this 4-game set here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Slated to start for the Airhogs is Jason Jarvis. And Jarvis will be going up against Nick Green, the right-hander from Lincoln. So we will be hoping to see you for that one tomorrow night at 7:05 p.m., the official start time. We'll give you your final lines for this one. The Grand Prairie Airhogs score 5 runs on 7 hits, commit 1 error in the field. And the Lincoln Salt Dogs 1 run on 5 hits, 1 error for them as well. Trevor Hardin is the star for the Airhogs tonight as they win it by a score of 5-1. We thank you for tuning in to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball live on Ustream. We will see you tomorrow night at 7:05 p.m. here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. Until then, I'm Andy Humphrey. So long from Lincoln, Nebraska. You've been listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. We'll see you next time, everyone.